This is the manual for HiPod Lite towers, which started shipping in April of 2018. Begin by taking the tower out of the case and placing it on the ground. For those HiPod Lite users who purchased before April of 2018, your manual can be found on the page where this manual is posted on the HiPod website. For the latest generation of the HiPod Lite, the leg setup has been greatly simplified. You'll find two black knobs pushing against the core tower in the base of the legs. Once you have adjusted the slats of the legs to be as even or parallel to the ground as possible, tighten the knobs so that they hold the legs in place. This way, nothing will slip while you're operating. The next step is to apply the sandbags, and this is not an option. You must apply the sandbags, but what you fill them with is up to you. We don't recommend sand as that can be a mess. Rocks, bricks, gravel, or something of your discretion is preferable, but you must use the sandbags for safety. The last part of the setup in the base and the legs I want to bring your attention to is the knob on the leg itself. This is an adjustable leg in case you find yourself on uneven ground.
Retrieve the robotic motor from your case. Use the mounting pedestal at the bottom to insert at the top of the tubes as such. Below the motor, you will see a ratchet where you twist and then pop the ratchet out, readjust again, and then continue to tighten until fully secure into the top of the tubes. Now find the cable bundle that was included with your unit and locate the yellow T-bar. This represents the top cabling. Find the space where the T-bar is and then locate the carabiner that is dangling off of a hook on the side of the top of the tubes. Use this to slide the cable bundle into the carabiner so that the T-bar is above the carabiner. This helps to dangle off the side and act as a strain relief. There's additional Velcro for you to reinforce even further. You will find 4 AA batteries with a charger in your unit. Use these to insert into the robot motor to provide power. With a full charge, they'll go for up to 9 hours.
The core structure of the new HiPod Lite has been completely redesigned. This is something new. There's a collar about halfway up with a ratchet. If you open that ratchet, you can spin the tower 360, and if you close it, it will lock it in place. Also note the white line which says mount above this line. That is going to be important in the next step. The LCD bracket, which you can see here. Take the bracket and with the mounting clamp, put it right below the first collar on the tube. You can see the mounting approach as such. On the opposite side of the bracket, there is a ratchet which you can open to adjust the angle of attack the LCD bracket sits at. You can adjust this at any point within the range of motion. I'm going to attach power to the screen. Find the LCD battery, which looks like this. There's Velcro on the back, and just stick it to the back of the screen. There's a power converter cable that goes between the battery and the screen. It looks like this. You're going to plug the round end into the DC port on the screen, and then on the opposite side you'll connect the USB cord to the battery itself. Look for the higher of the voltage out ports on the battery. You can see the same motion from 2 different angles in this portion of the video. Again, this is for the screen connection, and then on the opposite side to the USB port on the battery. Once connected to power, your screen will either automatically turn on, or you'll see a red power light, which you'll need to click the button to turn on the screen. Now we're going to start connecting the cables for the unit. Standard end of the HDMI cable and plug it into HDMI 1. We've created a new strain relief to safely hold the 2 remotes in place. We'll talk about the remotes later, but when not in use, take the hook on the strain relief and hang it from the ratchet on the LCD bracket. Now let's review the cable bundle and the attachments on that bundle. Shown here you can see the strain relief plate with quick release plate on top. This holds the cables safely in place on the tower so that they won't bend or pull at the delicate ports on the camera. You'll use the smaller hole in the middle that is right next to the 2 levers on the strain relief plate. That's what you're going to use to attach it to the motor itself. You're going to also need to mount this apparatus with the HDMI cables coming out on the left side of the camera and the LANC cable with the yellow little tag here on the right side of the camera. That will bring the cables out on the correct sides so they will plug into the camera ports. You will mount the strain relief to the threaded silver screw on top of the robot. The little screw that pushes down is irrelevant. Tighten the strain relief to the robot with the black knob that's directly under the pan tilt head, and note again the HDMI from the back is on the left side of the apparatus and the LANC cable with the yellow tag is on the right side. The third cable not plugged in yet with multiple pins is the robot directional control. You'll take this cable as shown and plug it directly into the back of the motor. Once plugged in, you'll be able to control the up, down, left, right motions of that motor. You're going to want to set the back to M for manual, and then no more than 90 degrees, which will keep you from going too far left or right, which could unplug some cables. For football behind an end zone, you really only need about 30 to 40 degrees of motion. Now we're going to attach the camera. Note there's a little mounting spud pre-attached to your camera itself. That will attach directly to the top of the quick release plate. To mount, you're going to need to make sure the levers are pulled back, ready to accept the mounting spud on the camera. Once ready, it'll just snap in and the levers will immediately close shut. To let the camera out, open the levers again and the camera will pop out. You will need to open the LCD window on the camera and leave it open for the camera to stay on. We'll go through all of the menu settings for the camera at the end of this manual. Open the little door on the left side of the camera near the SD card and plug the micro HDMI cable into the camera. Then on the right side of the camera there is a little door near the hand strap and you'll see a port which says multi. Connect the LANC cable with the yellow tag to this port. Now we're going to mount the battery for the camera. Revisit the hook where you put the cable bundle through the carabiner earlier. You're going to grab the battery, which looks like this, although the exact style may change over time. It will have a battery adapter in the back, which will allow you to take one of the brass screws, as shown here, put it through the back side of the hook, and sandwich it to the battery by tightening. That will hold the battery safely in place. You must use the larger battery for the camera rather than the internal small battery the camera itself has, as that will die in roughly 20 minutes if not connected to this larger battery. See another motion of the attachment from this angle. To connect the battery to the camera, you'll find this adapter, which is a male USB to female USB adapter cable. Plug the male USB end into the battery itself, and run the female USB adapter to a small little USB cord that's hiding in the camera's hand strap. Once that's connected, you should see the little light indicators on the front of the battery in blue turn on. Otherwise, if it doesn't automatically show up, you will need to click the physical button on the large battery to activate it. Once this is connected, you're going to have a lot of extra cable slack, and it's advisable to bind it up somewhat inside the hand strap Velcro on the camera. Just hold it in, but allow enough room of the cable for it to be able to move left and right the way you need. You can more or less see the range of motion that you'll need here. Tightening it up too much will also cause the cables to potentially unplug during use. Now let's talk about the two remotes in the strain relief on the cable bundle. The directional remote has the arrows up, down, left, right on it with a slider at the bottom. If the slider is to the left, the robot goes slower. If to the right, it goes faster. You're going to want it all the way to the right. The other remote is the camera remote. You see it now has a light indicator which shows red when recording and green when it's not recording. This is a very nice function which removes the need for text on screen information to be applied, but we'll show you how to do that later, just in case you still want to. With two hands, control will look like this. Now that the tower is set up, I'm going to go over some important things you should know about your camera. Now, if you want the camera's text and record data to show on the LCD while you're recording, follow these steps. From the default screen, hit the menu button and then select Camera Mic in the top middle. It'll bounce you into a scroll window and then look for Scene Selection. Your display will change to look like this. Then on the far right, you'll see an arrow on the bottom. Go ahead and click on that and leave your screen here. You'll see Standby, which turns into Record, and Battery Life. Each time you turn the camera on, you'll need to set this up. Now, to program your camera so it won't auto turn off after a few minutes, you'll do this. Go to Setup, and then scroll down until you see something that either says Power Save or Eco Mode, and then go ahead and click into that, and then turn Power Save or Eco Mode off. It varies based on which model you have. Also, if you see an option which says Demo Mode, you'll want to go into that and turn it off as well. Continuing with camera settings, this is something you're going to need to do at first time setup only. New cameras shipping in 2017 have an automatic dual video record setting activated in the camera. What this does is to record two files of the same clip in two different formats. What that does effectively is to take up twice as much memory in your SD card as it needs to. So to turn this off, this is what you need to do. Go to Menu, and then after that point, click on the top right icon that says Image Quality / Size. Then scroll down to where you find Dual Video Record option and make sure that option is turned off. That will save you this extra file space and allow you to record longer at a time. One final note for those of you who are using the USB power pack style camera battery, To confirm the correct battery is powering your camera, once you have text on screen set up as explained earlier in this manual, look at your screen, and if in the top right-hand corner you see a battery icon, either dead or partly charged or anything at all that shows a battery, that means you're drawing power from the small internal battery in the camera. You need to click the external power pack battery on the side once connected for it to take over as the main battery for the camera. Otherwise, if you use the internal battery, that camera will die within 30 to 45 minutes. Once you have clicked the external battery and it is turned on, the battery icon on the LCD will disappear. This is what you want, and it confirms the larger battery is active as the power source for the camera.
Now, if you're going to mount the rain gear to this unit, these are the steps involved. There's a little mounting pedestal that you will use to facilitate sandwiching the camera into the rain gear as such. When you're done, the rain gear covering looks like this. We've made it a lot larger to cover the motor underneath. Now, when installing the camera to the rain gear, these are the steps. Sandwich the camera to the rain gear plate with this little screw. It's an additional insert you'll find in your case. Sandwich the camera into the rain gear and then screw that pedestal onto the robotic motor directly.
Now that the tower is fully assembled, it's time to elevate the tubes. Make sure all of these are organized and nothing catches on the way up or down. Now, every tube section has a collar with a cam lock. Open the cam lock, push the tube above the collar up into the air to your desired height, and lock the cam lock again. Each stage has a piece of Velcro. Take your video and light cables and put it inside of the Velcro and lock it down. This helps to keep it out of the way and also acts as a strain relief. When it's time to put your tower away, here's a quick tip. When you want to fold the legs, always pull up on the top portion of the legs and push your foot down on one of the black slats so that they compress in. That's going to allow the legs to collapse easily. And that's it.